want the truth. You handle the truth. You want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. This is Lynne from The Filthy Truth. And of course, we are live on the Winnipeg Alternative Media platform. We are on The Filthy Truth on YouTube. Let me know where you guys are at. Let me know how you guys are doing on this lovely Tuesday evening. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys got outside and soaked up some sun today. I definitely was able to get outside for a little bit today. It was really, really nice to just be out there and just kind of enjoy chilling out and soaking up the sun. Like, I don't remember really ever it being almost plus 30 in almost October. So loving that. Loving tomorrow. I'm excited for tomorrow. Heading over to my friend's place, gonna get my kids to clean up some horse crap. That's gonna be awesome. And just chill out and soak up some more sun rays tomorrow. So how you guys doing? I'm doing well. Just a couple of news before we bring on our guest this evening. Of course, our guest speaker tonight is Beth Martens. We're going to get her to talk a little bit about what she does and, of course, what she is doing. She is a huge advocate for our movement, and so it's really, really awesome to have her on the show tonight. But before we get there, just a few things, a few news items to bring up to your attention. CTV News, always my favorite source of news in the world. They were talking about the Jets hockey game and how the lineups were so long, and how of course they're checking everybody's passes, and how they're checking if you have your passport and your ID. So they're saying that that's taken a lot longer. So just to anybody who's going to the Jets games, and I know that I got a friend of mine on Facebook here who says that to be a little bit kinder to the people, but you know what, you're going to support segregation either way. And, you should really think about that when you guys are buying your Jets tickets, because really at the end of the day, does it matter if you're sitting right by everybody and you who have the vaccine can still share and spread it and get it and catch it? Does it really matter if we're there at the end of the day? No, it does not. And of course, this isn't about health. This isn't about your health. It's never been about your health. And so anyways, I just wanted to make a shout out to anybody who goes to the Jets games. You guys should really reprioritize yourselves and really put yourself in a position on the right side of history. That's what's happening there. Now, I was scrolling through some stuff, and somebody texted me in this Joe Rogan speech, and it's got, of course, all the music and the inspirational stuff in the background. And so I do want to share that video. So, Alex, can you please share the screen for me here? And I'm just going to play this. It's about a minute long, so just bear with it here. Let me just get my mouse. All right.
As soon as you give politicians power, any kind of power that didn't exist previously, if they can figure out a way to force you into carrying something that lets you enter businesses or lets you do this or lets businesses open, historically, they are not going to give that power up. They find new reasons to use this powerful power. We have to protect those freedoms at all costs, whether you agree with people's choices or not, because it is the foundation that this country was founded on, freedom. This idea of freedom, there's so many people that think it's frivolous, it's not important, it's not the main thing that we should be focused on, but it is the literal structure that allows this country to be so fucking amazing. Every single country that's ever existed other than the United States, up until 1776, every fucking country that has ever existed was run by dictators, all of them. This is the first experiment in self-government that actually worked, and it created the greatest superpower the world's ever known. It created the greatest cultural machine, the greatest machine of art and creativity and innovation right fucking here. And how did it do that? It did it through freedom. And as soon as you see something, anything that comes along and inhibits your freedom, you should be very cautious of that thing. You should be very suspicious. Because anything that comes along that can inhibit your freedom is, by definition, anti-American.
So What are your thoughts on that? I think that that's fantastically done, and I couldn't have worded it any better than that. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter where you're at. It doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. It really, really freaking doesn't. The second you give the powers to be a little bit more of your freedoms and a little bit more of your rights and a little bit more of who you are, you never get that back. You'll never get that back. So you have to think about the people who are, and I'm going to keep saying this, and I know that a couple of us have said this in the past, and we get the shame on yous and all of these things. You got to think about it in the sense that, we had 17-year-olds on the beaches of Normandy, pissing their pants, shitting their pants, literally in fear, because they knew that when that gate fell, they were probably going to be killed. So when we think about the freedoms that we're letting slip away by creating these separations in society, you're literally giving it up. You're handing it to them without a fight. See, I think as Canadians, we're not used to fighting. And I think as Canadians, we're not used to putting, a gun in our hand and fight for freedom. It's been how many years since World War II? It's been a long time. I know I wasn't part of any war. My dad wasn't part of any war. My grandfather wasn't part of any war, but my great-grandfather was. So that's 3 generations out of a war here in Canada. So you got to think about the freedom here that we've never had to really fight for. We've never had to really experience that. But here, what's happening is people are so willing to forget that these 17-year-old kids, and some were even 16 and 15, they just lied about their age so they can go and fight to save their country. You guys are just giving it up. To go to a Jets game, to go to a Bomber game, to go to a restaurant, to go to a movie, to support businesses who keep asking for this pass. My kid wanted to go to Tim Hortons today. I said, no, I'm not taking you to Tim's. I will not support anybody who asks for this pass. If you want to go to a few places that have coffee, there's Fortify has coffee. They are on the corner of Marion and Taché. They also have a nice little buffet there. We stopped there. That's a good place for us to eat, especially me being vegan. And Mountain Bean. I heard that Shay's Lounge is also another place to go. Monstrosity Burger is another place to go. Diana's Pizza is another place to go. Get yourself inconvenient and stop living in a lap of luxury. Stop being so freaking first class here that we just have first world problems. Stop supporting this stuff. And like I said in my Instagram live today, I don't know how many of you guys are on my Instagram page, but if you're not there, it's the_real_Lynne_Nelson. And I talked about that. Just hammered that out. Before I bring on my guests, I've got one more amazing thing here to announce. We do have a town hall coming up soon. I know a lot of you guys have been asking, and a lot of you guys have been, when is the next one? When is the next one? A lot of you guys are even driving over to where the other town halls have been held and asking them, when are we doing another one? So we're doing one. But we're doing it online, which is something that I'd never wanted to do. But because of the heaviness of this conversation, Project Thanos, if you guys were at the previous town halls, you know what this means. It's endgame. Remember the snap of the finger and how life was so different. If you guys want to know how to make changes, if you guys want to know what's coming down the pipe, if you guys want to have an idea of how to prep, if you guys want to know how to fight this with common law, we have speakers for everybody. We have somebody that used to be in the mainstream media telling you how scripted it was and how quickly you get exited if you don't follow the script. I'm looking for a couple whistleblowers at the CTV and the CBC. I'm not sure if I'm going to get it, but yeah, this is the for real thing. So this is Project Thanos. It's happening Thursday, October 7th. We have a few speakers we are trying to hammer down. Once we nail those 2 down, we will announce everybody that's on file. Beth Martens is actually going to be speaking. We have Shadow Davis who's going to be speaking. We are working on. We have the what do you want to call them? The whole show kind of thing. The reason why we're having the show. The main event, if you will. That's going to be held at the end of the first couple of speakers. We're going to start at 7 p.m. It's $20 because this isn't for everybody. If you guys are going to sit there, wrap your knees around your arms and sit in a corner and cry for a minute, this might not be the conversations for you. If you're not ready to hear some hard truths, this might not be ready for you. Yeah, we're looking for whistleblowers from mainstream media. If you know anybody, get them on over here. So that's happening October 7th. If you guys want any more information on the town hall, PM me, send me a text. If you guys have my email, actually, I'll send it over to Alex right away so he can put my email up. Well, it's one of my emails that you guys can get a hold of me. This email here, Alex, can you put that up for everybody, please? That email there is strictly for people to get a hold of me for the tickets and for other little things. Okay, so if you guys want to join the town hall, we're doing it on Zoom. You guys, if you want to put a fake name and a different picture up, that's totally up to you guys to do what you want to do with it. We are only selling 1,000 spots. That's it. Across Canada, I don't care where you guys are from. 1,000 spots. That's all we're selling out. All right. Without further ado, please welcome my guest for this evening, Beth Martens. I was hoping to have, you know what, Alex, I think I want like when Ricky Lake or whoever would come out and they'd have like that woo, woo, woo chanting. And that's what we got to get. We got to get that for the guests. How you doing, Beth?
I'll work on that for
Really
next
good.
time.
Sounds good.
Really good, Lynne. Thanks for having me. It's really
Absolutely.
awesome. Yeah, you've got great shows. I totally love them.
Thanks. Yeah, you got to put some earmuffs sometimes on. Yeah. So, for people who might not know who you are, maybe just give us a little bit of a backstory of who you are and how you got to getting engaged in this fight.
Yeah, so I'm born and raised here in the prairies, and I was born to entrepreneurs. So I only had, 2.5 jobs in my life. I was fired from both of them. And I did a degree in anthropology. I was qualified for absolutely nothing after that. So I thought, okay, well, I want to go to India every year. I developed a fascination and passion for the Indian subcontinent and meditation and yoga and all that stuff before it was popular, by the way. And so I thought I had to go make money first. So I went to work with my parents' firm. I ended up vice president of their marketing and communication firm. And then not a decade into it, I was diagnosed with a stage 4 lymphoma. It put a total end to the whole thing. And in a way, it was good. I was calling it in. I don't recommend using my methods, but it got me on the track of following my own purpose. And from then on, I never looked back. I did recover after 3 years of fighting for my life. And it's been a constant evolution of different things, but some threads have remained. Just a high value for truth and freedom has been there. You know, I used to run with my blinders on because it was the only way I felt like I could psychically survive it.
Yep.
And then came a time where, I'm a coach by trade. I coach people to deprogram the New World disorder. That's thanks to the latest pandemic that we have. I came up with that.
Yeah, yep.
I read archetypes. I also coach people in business. So it's sometimes, for me, for example, I wasn't able to work a job and do my purpose. That was a double life for me. It wasn't even an honest position for me to be in. And so I helped them to build businesses out of their own life purpose, how they want to serve and help people. I wrote a book finally just 5 minutes before the pandemic hit.
Oh, really?
I managed to grab a copy while we were waiting, and it's all about the archetypes of the hero's journey.
Oh, nice.
And it has my whole story about how I survived cancer using the work of archetypes to be able to find the places in myself that were really sucking the life out of me, because it was a huge mystery why I was dying, doing all the right things for my health, but still a dying person. And then it really wasn't until about, maybe 5 years ago, on the heels, my mom was about to pass away, and I had a client come in my door who booked with me just before my mom died. And so I didn't get to work with her for a month after that, but she was a victim of satanic ritual abuse and human trafficking.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know what satanic ritual abuse was. It didn't sound good to me.
No, it doesn't sound like fun.
Exactly. But and then I went down the rabbit hole and I started looking into that, and my whole world fell apart. My mom had just died. It was a really devastating time. but it was actually the need of that client to do some work with me that got me through that. Because when somebody's sitting there and they want and need your help, then that's what I'm here for. So
Yeah.
I found out very quickly it wasn't just a unique kind of a thing. It's highly networked. It's connected to all kinds of things. It's when I went from being a feminist to a recovering feminist. That was actually a few years earlier
Yeah.
with my father's death, and just seeing how every little thing in our world is a psyop and a fiction. And
Isn't it crazy, eh? When you go down those rabbit holes and you take that matrix plug out of your head and then you're like, oh shit.
I know, like everything, and the
Yeah.
world is flat, and
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
they lied to us about everything. Okay,
Yeah.
and I thought I couldn't stand seeing everything, all the brutalities, the incredible evil. I didn't even believe in evil,
Yeah.
right? I thought that was, and that's a new age ism that talks us out of the reality that actually is. So I faced it head on, and I saw how there were a lot of demons in my world, not out there so much, but in here, and became a demon slayer. And when the whole world went crazy, it was funny. I was coming home from Anarchapulco. I don't know if you know that conference at all.
Mm.
That's if you know Jeff Berwick and
Yep. I've heard the
Dollar
name.
Vigilante. Yeah, so
Mhm.
that's his
Okay.
festival event that he's done every year. And I managed to fight my way into it. I actually, they told me no, and then I don't know, 3 weeks before the event, they said, "Hey, Beth, a spot opened. Would you come?" And I'll be right there, no problem. So I finished my book in a big hurry, and coming home after the event, I started to see people in masks. And I was very sure that the pandemic would never come here, right? This
Yeah.
is sleepy Manitoba. Nothing ever
Yeah.
happens here. We
Yeah.
can literally, the whole recession of 2008, I guess it was, happened. I didn't notice.
Yeah. I
you
didn't
know,
notice much of it either. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, so then, lo and behold, here we were in a matter of days, completely locked down, and my life fell apart again, as I'm sure everybody's did at that point. And I thought, okay, maybe this is the time when, like, I never say die. Even at a stage 4 lymphoma, I didn't say die. Nothing has ever stopped me. But at that moment, I thought, well, maybe it's time to just, pack her in, live on savings, and prep my ass off. Can I swear, by the way?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
There
Have
you
you
go.
just met me?
Just thought I would ask for Wham.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah,
know.
no, I know
Oh
those
no.
guys
Yeah.
too,
Oh
actually.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And
Oh
so,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So then I just, yeah, I was crying for 5 minutes, and then I went, well, what could I do right now that would actually be of benefit to others and genuine interest to me, so that I could keep going in a way that was satisfying, felt on purpose, and was a win-win.
Mhm.
And then I dreamt up for my first coaching certification program. I didn't think it would come it could have been a decade before I did that, before I qualified.
Yep.
But I thought, if these perpetrators, psychopaths out there can do this to us, I can do something good in the
Yep.
world.
Absolutely.
And just about to run my third program. It's super exciting to be, not reproducing myself. Everyone comes out unique in
Yep.
it, but to be passing my skills on, and created a program called Primal Power, specifically for the truth community, because
Okay.
we tend to rise into a higher energy, not so much victims in apathy, grief and fear, but they're good at their anger and pride, and some courage in there too. It can be a very stuck place. So I created a program that has 5 archetypes highly weaponized against us right now, and had great success with that. It was super fun watching people get results and do this
That's awesome.
work. Yeah, yeah. It's super simple and works if you do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I get that, because that's exactly what I'm working on too right now. I had a program back in the day called Recovery Through Fitness. And, after the whole pandemic came crashing down on us, I was like, well, what do you do now? What do you do now? And it's exactly what you said. Well, you know what? Like, for me, I feel better and I feel healthier when I'm helping other people. And when other people are feeling happier and healthier, then it's like, okay, this is awesome, because then they're going to ripple that, and then they're going to ripple that. Right. So I totally resonate with what you're saying. So through your kind of journey and your awakening and all of that stuff, you guys are kind of working on a new program. Well, not new, but you guys are working on a lot of stuff behind the scenes. I don't know what you want to actually divulge, how much you want to divulge of it, but can we talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so what is it that you and your group or your team, what are you guys actually putting together, and again, narrate it how you have to narrate it. And how are we putting this into action?
So I'll start a little bit at the beginning that, I never wanted to study the law. It wasn't an interest of mine. I consider it all BS, right? Like
Yep.
just bunch of crap, paper and words. And you think that binds me? I just won't have any of it. But a little bit of growing up taught me that, you know what, we probably don't get out of this without understanding how they're using the law against us.
Yep.
And the vast majority of people out there really do, if somebody comes along and says, ask for your ID, and they show it back to you and they say, is this you? Everybody says yes, right? They teach us from kindergarten when the teacher calls your name, Beth Martens, and then you go, oh yeah, that's me, right? The first skill they teach us is to identify as our name. And so you're sunk because as soon as you say this is you, then you're not that anymore. You're not the living man or woman that you actually are, or child, depending on how old you are. And so there's a massive world of difference. The legal fiction, if your audience isn't familiar with that, it is your capital letters on your birth certificate when you were born, and your birth was reported by your mother specifically. Then your name was turned into a security. You become the bonded surety for that security, which means that you are basically every amount of labor and value that you are going to create over the course of your life becomes embedded in there, and they start trading that on the stock exchange, and it becomes right. We just don't know anything. We think, oh yeah, that's me, that's my name. We didn't even use surnames, right? So you're better off to say I'm commonly known as Beth, and of the family Martens. If somebody, if a cop comes up and asks you what your name is, that's a strategic way to answer, although they might, go, oh, free man on the land, and you're coming with me for a psych assessment. So to preempt everything else I'm going to say, by the way, this is not legal advice. I am not a legal expert, not even close. I am a connector, I'm a community builder. And nobody else was doing it here. So I just bit the bullet and thought, okay, I've got enough smart people around me. We hosted the Choose Freedom Law Summit because I wanted to learn firsthand from everybody. It's, I'm so involved with my work. That way I get to ask the questions, and it feels totally worthwhile to be there rather than just combing through and studying and, watching videos, not knowing anything. And it really gave me a great deal of education in the process, where I got smarter and smarter about asking questions. You'll probably see the trajectory over the 24, 25 interviews that we did with my co-host, Matt Belair, by the way. So that was a huge education. The biggest education of all was watching how there are many more roads than one to supposedly the same outcome, whatever that is. Now, there's no one outcome. Everybody's trying for something different, so that complicates it as well. There are directly opposing views. So they're literally going two different directions. Some people are saying you need to reclaim that security and go and cash in on it, so you get the money that is now on the back of your labor. And then others are saying more along the Bible, and frankly, that's where I'm leaning towards. Is the Bible tells us we have to leave Babylon, not get deeper into it, not become more and more dependent, right? So you get that security. Who do you think is paying your bills? Where do you think those trustees come from? They're not your friends. They don't love you.
No, they really don't. And that's the biggest problem, I think, and that's the biggest misconception that most people have, is that the government cares for you, that they care about your well-being, when it's really all about the bottom dollar, and it's all about how they can get as much control on you as they can.
That's it. It's even more about control than it is about money, because they print that stuff, as you saw, trillions of dollars since the post-pandemic. So it's quite a show. It's the only subject I've ever studied in my entire life, often resentfully at the beginning. I'm still shaking some of that stuff off, that there's no clear-cut, concise path. There's a decade or more worth of reading. I know guys that are into it for 4 decades, and yes, they've read the whole UCC code and the whole 1611 King James Bible and the SAKV Act and all, acts and coming out in your yin yang and statutes. But luckily, some of them have said that if they had to do it again, they wouldn't
No.
learn all of that stuff. So that was comforting. None of us have a decade anymore
Yeah, no, we don't.
to sit down with that stuff. So what I pulled from it, the most important part is to know who you are, to know the difference between your legal fiction and yourself, to understand your role as an agent to manage that account rather than be managed as if you are that. We're studying systems that keep us out of court. There's no lawyers. I say this, 4 or 5, 8 times a day. Somebody says, "Oh, well, is there a lawyer around here that I can talk to?"
Yeah.
And my pat answer is always, and actually my autocorrect now knows lawyers are married to the devil. It's so fun that my autocorrect
Yeah, yeah.
remembers that. And yeah, so it's a really good path because you never make what's called joinder with them, meaning you go into their jurisdiction. As soon as you hire a lawyer, or even if you agree to represent yourself, you go into the court's jurisdiction.
Yeah.
The court is actually a business. It's a corporation. The judge is actually a cashier.
Yep.
Right. Why do you, yeah, I know you know all this
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah.
but if anybody out there doesn't, but why is it all about fines and charges? It's all commerce.
Mm-hmm.
And so here we find ourselves in this world of commerce, and the whole of the law and the way to navigate through to freedom from Babylon is in the Bible. So then that became of a central focus. And like I said, I gravitated towards anybody that's working in that arena. It's not a given that they refer to the Bible because many of them are doing it in a way that's much more new agey. They're saying it's all metaphor,
Yeah.
it's all allegory, all of that kind of thing. And I believe it's that, but it's also a literal story telling us how we can free ourselves of this prostitute system that we're in, that is demanding we are prostitutes, right? And we're at the height of it now. Oh my God, unbelievable.
It's
I didn't know.
Yeah, it's insane. I was on a call last night, and you almost have to applaud them for how strategic and how well they fooled almost everybody. I
A
mean, like
plus.
even before you and I woke up, right? Like you think about it and you're like damn, like we were totally like fucking duped out of everything, and we were taught all of this bullshit. Like I get to homeschool my kids now, and I'm not teaching them the regular stuff that like is in the schools anymore, because why, what history are they learning? What like, other than mathematics, what really are they learning?
Yeah.
Like I just talked to my other son, and he's taking law, and I'm like, are you talking about common law, or are you talking about what kind of law are you learning? And he's at all of it. But yeah, so I'm like, you got to stick more with the common law. So do you think that with the way that everything is going with the Bible, and I kind of agree, because I used to be Catholic, and the whole Revelations and all of that, like what's happening through that, like do you kind of feel like that's kind of part of the course too? Like if we kind of dive deeper in there, do you think that we would find some more answers for both common law and for maybe what's dealing with all of this stuff?
Yes, and just quickly to clarify that common law doesn't exactly exist in the way that we think it does, because I don't know my history that well, but mercantile law, merchant law, statute law, contract law, which are all the same thing, was merged with common law. That's how they hid the common law, so that we don't have true juries and we don't have an actual fair court process. It was according to commerce, it was very onerous. If you had to say you were in port quickly and there was a market and there was some dispute and you need to solve it right away, then common law would have been, weeks or months to resolve anything. So they created this whole merchant system, and essentially there's nothing wrong with it, but it's just that we don't understand how the common law became folded into that, and we're never told the rules of merchant law. So we don't understand that when the Louis-Riel School Division sends you a notice that your 12-year-old can go and get a double injection without your permission or presence, they don't realize this is an offer.
Mm-hmm.
It's not quite a contract, but it's acting as a contract. It is the beginning of it. And so we're just in the habit of not rebutting anything that they send us.
Yeah.
just a tiny little thing. But last year when I registered my kid for school, which I don't want him in there, but he wants to be in there. His dad wants him to be in there as well. Then I took their registration form and I wrote all over it, my own stuff. And I changed my signature from just a naked autograph to without prejudice.
Yep, I heard to do that.
The without prejudice meaning I waive no rights and I agree to no performance in your contract at all.
Yep.
Right. And those things, they don't stand by themselves. You definitely need to study it and understand it and be able to speak to it to the guy that you're dealing with, or whomever it is. I have one funny little story. If you didn't hear this already, I was in Gimli and we were just leaving on a dirt road, and there was a very slow truck in front of me, and I got impatient and I was kind of pissed off, and I was I was having an emotional day anyway, so I decided to pass the truck, and he was going 20, so I went 40 to pass him, and then so as I'm passing him, I realize he's a cop. Right, and then I look behind, and of course he's pulling me over. He comes over and tells me that I ran a stop sign. So not only did I pass a cop, but I passed a cop running a stop sign. Never in my life have I done. I know, boner move, major boner. And so he says, "I'd like to see your driver's license and your registration." And I looked down at my purse, and I'd been studying for months and months all of this kind of stuff. And I just said to myself, "Beth, don't pull anything. You're in no state. Just take the ticket. You made the error." So I took my license out and I'm about to put it in his hand, but instead my hand moved by God and I put it on the dash instead. I didn't put it in his hand. So he won't touch it. He wouldn't grab it. He went around and he looked at it through the thing, and maybe it's because he saw without prejudice. Maybe it's because I didn't put it in his hand, creating joinder and his ability to create a new security so that he could charge me. But then he came around and he said, "You're free to go." Right. So it was just, I don't know what worked. Maybe he felt sorry for me because I'm stupid or something like that. But it was just an interesting thing. And I was like, I wonder if that without prejudice made him think, oh, this might be more work than I'm prepared
That I'm ready to handle.
to go through.
And so you wrote without prejudice on your driver's license.
Yeah, touching my signature. It actually should be under the signature. Pardon me, above the signature. Mine is under, but
Okay.
at the end of the day, over, above, blue ink, black ink. Frankly, I don't think that stuff is really. It's you. How do you operate in that environment? Can you speak to those words on your driver's license? Is way more important than the form of it.
Yeah. So when we're talking about without prejudice and all of that, just so like, because there was a question that kind of went up there. Like in layman's terms, when we talk about that, that just means that you don't contract, or you're not contracting to the identity of you. Is that, am I off on that, or that's pretty?
Yeah, so when you sign something with your naked signature, then you're basically creating money.
Yep.
Right? People don't realize that we are the ones that create the value. When you go to get a loan from the bank and you sign it, that's when the money gets created. They don't have it.
Okay.
Your signature is the thing that creates that value based on your birth certificate and the labor of your lifetime.
Yep.
They don't have any money. That you're the one who creates the money. So it's when you go and put your naked signature on any other person's document, you actually are waiving all of your rights. You are agreeing to perform in whatever contract, the things you know and the things you don't know. And that's another thing that people don't realize. It's all contracts. So your driver's license is a contract with MPI or whoever your insurance provider is. Your passport is a contract with the federal government, and so I definitely recommend doing your passport as well. It's a little harder. Get your driver's license first, because they were going to refuse me unless I could prove that my signature had changed. And I'm like, well, here's my driver's. And they decided to go through with it. They were going to refuse me my kid's passport, but I managed to finagle it and managed, it was months actually before I got it, but all of a sudden it showed up. I know in Ontario, they're blocking, the Prime Minister actually ordered Ontario not to allow anybody to do without prejudice. I don't know if it's become the case in Manitoba, but there is a good Autopack outlet down the street where all my friends go after I did. I don't know if I should say it or not. To tell you the truth, I don't want to put them in any jeopardy at all.
No, yeah, totally. I totally understand that. Yeah, that's I know that we've talked to a few people, and this one person for sure. She always gets so pissed off at us when we tell her like that we signed whatever, and she's like, "Why the fuck are you guys still doing that? Like, wake the fuck up and just write without prejudice." And I think it takes a minute to write, because I mean, I've been here for 43 years trying to sign my name off and all that stuff, right? And it's old habits that you have to break when you start to know the law a little bit different, and especially where you guys are at. So when you with what you guys are kind of putting together right now, like I get this question all the time, and I just started referring people to you, because they always ask me, well, what do I do with my kids in the school when it comes to the vaccine? Like, how can I get them to not administer it? Because while we all know now that, you know, a 5-year-old can consent to this stuff if they wanted to, how do we protect our children through the basis of these laws?
Well, it's tricky.
Yeah.
It's tricky business. So I don't have any real definitive answers here, but we are in the process of an action, and lawful action. The first thing really is that if you aren't educated in the law, and it's like you just said, Lynn, these are very hard habits to break.
Yeah.
You can hear it, you can agree with it, you can like file it as knowledge, but when the situation comes, you're going to be doing something that you didn't expect to do, because you've just been, through so many possibly lifetimes of responding to authority in certain ways.
Yep.
So that's the first thing, and that's why we created the Manitoba Law and Action Group, like you said, where you've been sending people to get educated, to get some basics in commerce law, because that's for the most part where we're acting. Common law doesn't work great in Canada because we don't have a country.
Yep.
This is right. The country's not ratified.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean it's useless. It's actually really great for us on the other side when we're doing the things that you're doing, creating a society, creating community, creating ways of life, so that we can manage our own affairs and create fairness and equity in our dealings. Then common law is a perfect way to go. We need sheriffs to be able to actually hold people to certain things, because you can have rulings, but you never actually, who's going to enforce those rulings?
Yep.
Now, commerce is the way to, for example, my first word was no, right? Like I'm just a no person. Like, nope, nope,
Yep.
no. But but when it comes to commerce, you fall out of honor immediately. So if they come and they tell you, you have to put that double jab in your arm, and you say no, then by that act of saying no, you go into dishonor, and you end up in their jurisdiction automatically.
Really?
So the approach is not no, even that, I do not consent. It's a good sentiment. It's better than I consent, of course, but it's not going to get you anywhere. You hear people like, Dolores Cahill, we interviewed her, and I actually came out of it going like, who is this person? Because she's claiming to get through every legal situation in her life by saying, I don't consent. And it's like, well, that certainly wouldn't work here. Maybe it works in Ireland. I don't really think so. But so the approach is conditional acceptance, which for some people sounds really scary. It's a yes, but.
Yeah.
So a cop comes up to you and says, you need to show me ID. And you say, yes, I will do that if you can prove to me that I've done anything that warrants me having to show you my ID. So you're not saying no. If you just say no, that cop's going to say, okay, you're not cooperating, and therefore now I have reason to arrest you. And I've had friends that they just get taken away for not showing ID.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're in the process of doing right now. I will shout out to my very good friend Lysander Zimmerman in BC, who took it upon himself to learn. He must have many past lives as lawyers and truth activists. He's been like a truth activist for most of his life. His parents are, his mom, I guess, was since she passed away. And so when things happened to him, he ended up getting arrested for not wearing a mask and got into a little kerfuffle with the cops. He ended up actually going to court and writing all of his own documents and navigating this beast system.
Yeah.
And he came out of it successful.
That's awesome.
It really was. And he didn't look, who can I follow? Who can I copy? Where's all the documents I can copy and paste? Right? That's what people are doing right now, just sending willy-nilly. It's okay, but it's not effective, and they're making fun of us now.
Yeah, at this point, yeah.
Yeah. So he had some breakthroughs, and the big breakthrough that he allowed me to have just by hanging around with him was that I can think for myself too. Right? It's not just, oh, go hang on this person's every word. And I was like that. I had a kind of guru in law for a while, and nothing good can come of it. It's not what we're meant to do right now. The Old Testament was where Moses could lead the people out of Exodus, or pardon me, out of Egypt, not Exodus. That
Yeah,
is
yeah,
in Exodus.
yeah.
And now in the New Testament world where we all have to, choose the good or the evil side.
Yep.
And we have to do this work for ourselves. There's no way around it, every single individual. So it's a big responsibility, a tall order. It means you have to study. The beauty for me was to find out that the study of law, it's not just nuts and bolts and memorizing words that make no sense. Honestly, I'll have to look up a word 10 or 12 times because it has nothing to do with what's being said there.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas someone like Lysander, he hears the word once and he's got it. He's just wired for all of this stuff. But oh darn, where was I going with that? But I'll go back to conditional acceptance in particular. It's that okay, yes, I will allow I've a 14-year-old. I'll allow my 14-year-old to get a jab without my consent or permission, but only if you can prove to me this huge long. Actually, we're at 17 pages of a document right now, list of conditions that you have to prove that a virus has ever been isolated in the face of this stack of I think it's up to 106 Freedom of Information Act documents that prove they have not. They admit it fully right there. Like, it's amazing. They don't even lie about that stuff
They
somehow.
can't, yeah.
I guess not. Yeah, there's a certain honor among Satanists somewhere. Strange one. Endless conditions about like, do you have power of attorney over my child? That's how you're acting. Could you please prove how you have a power of attorney over him and his estate?
Yep.
Right. And so that's what this action is about. And we started in May. It's been a really long time. Months and months and months. I had no idea. If someone told me I would work this many hours on this, I probably would have gone, nah, I'm just going to let them, right?
Oh,
Or
I agree.
run away. But where do you go? You were talking earlier before the show. My ancestors were persecuted in Russia. They were Mennonites in Russia. It was the exact same Bolsheviks, that we're dealing with right now, that attacked them,
Yeah.
murdered my grandmother's children, half taken away, two survivors. She was murdered. She died after the attack. My great grandfather survived. They fled to Canada. At least they had somewhere to go.
Yep.
But we don't.
We
Right?
don't.
We don't. It doesn't matter where you go on this earth. You're pretty much in the globalist view, more or less. I think there are some exceptions because they want us to believe every corner of the earth is covered, but I don't think it's true. At least Egypt. I have a colleague in Egypt who keeps telling me there's nothing going on there.
That's what I heard too. That's
Okay.
yeah. I've had a couple people tell me that nothing seems to be happening in Egypt, and they're not 100% sure why nothing's going on there. But it, I don't know. I mean, do we really want to pick up and go to Egypt too with all the like
Oh,
with all
exactly.
the war and going on out there?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, and I know that was like a big talk in our family here was, well, do we get the kids passports? Like, I'm thinking I might get my kids a passport at this point. Is it going to be probably useless? Probably, but at least we have it just in case we decide to, I don't know, go to Mexico for a last minute vacation for something. But, like when we look at the laws and like you, like, I never thought I'd be doing this. Like, I was an introvert. I was the one who just liked to be in the background. Like, I liked making videos. I didn't mind, or like video editing. I didn't mind making the occasional video, but I always felt like when you're doing this, it's so awkward. And, like even this, like, to see yourself, sometimes you see your reflection, you're like, oh, dang, like, don't be looking there. But you fall into these roles almost naturally when you follow your truth, right? Like, let's go woo-woo spiritual here, because I think that's a huge thing that we connect on, is that. So when we follow our energy and our truth, these things just kind of pop up. We don't go and ask for them. Like, did you really want to learn the law? You said it yourself. Like, nope. But so now you found your goal through this law. what do you think the end game for you through this law is?
It's a great question. It would be really nice if the perpetrators stopped and asked for forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually have it. That's the beauty of a conditional acceptance, say, compared to a notice of liability, which is the much more popular document that's flying around these days. Notice of liability means you are making claims, and he who claims or asserts must prove. That's a maxim of law. Whereas the conditional acceptance is making them prove their claims.
Yeah.
So way better, way softer also. Right? We come in peace, we come in humility. We want not remedy in the form of dollars, although because we're in commerce, if you don't speak dollars, right? If they were to jab my kid without my knowledge, it would be $1 billion US, 25% of which would be gold.
Yeah.
Right? And that means my kid's life is priceless, actually. That's what that means.
Yeah.
And that's how you talk to these living men and women who are hiding behind their institutions, thinking all these limited corporations have limited liability. That's true, they do. You can still sue a corporation, but who wants to go through that as a one man or woman? But these notices are for a living man or a living woman who are perpetrating, whether they're doing it out of nescience, they don't understand what they're doing, or they're doing it on purpose. And you can see, you look around, and there's a few heads of school divisions out there that definitely know what they're doing. You can see it. They're instigating.
Yeah.
They're not even following orders.
No,
They're inciting.
they're going off and doing their own thing at this point. I think a lot of people are going to start going rogue and just start implementing a bunch of shit that doesn't even make sense, to be honest with you. I think that's definitely a path down there. So for everybody who's kind of wanting to get involved or has questions, how can they join your group? Or do you have like a weekly podcast? What do you do with that?
Oh, good point. I always forget to talk about my podcast, which I'd love to have you on. Yes, I host the King Heroes Journey, which is hosting those strong souls out there that are willing to speak the truth in the face of, what could be attacks and takedowns and slanders and censorship and all that kind of thing. But they love the truth and freedom more than they are afraid of all that stuff. Yep. They're the head of the spear. They're willing to get out, be seen. Like you said, they follow their passion and their purpose. They just do what God tells them to do, even though it can make no sense or seem really scary. So definitely would love to have you on the show. Yeah, I host that, and I host a number of people in law over the course of the last months. You'll see there's many of those alternative law people there. And like I said, we also hosted the Choose Freedom Law Summit, which I can grab you a link for, because that's a great, I'll say, one-stop shop for some education. So you don't have to go sifting through everything. They're vetted speakers. They're downloadable. We have documents that they have where applicable. I haven't tested those documents, to tell you the truth. We're just making our own. And then knowing that there's so many people who want to take action, but they don't have that education. That's again why we created the Manitoba Law and Action groups. So it gives them a little bit of a place to land. We don't have to turn people away just because they don't have the knowledge. Yeah. So here in the private chat are the two links to join those groups if you feel like sharing them.
Yeah, Alex, do you mind sharing those? Is this found on Telegram, or is this found on
the Manitoba Law and Action group? We meet every Wednesday on Telegram. I thought it was a little bit more private than Zoom these days. I don't know if that's going to continue to be the case. It's also unlimited numbers of people on Telegram. Plus, you can record now.
Oh, really?
So,
well, maybe we'll have to move our event over to Telegram.
Yeah. No, it's been good. The connection has always worked well. I had a malfunction last time, but I don't think it was anything to do with Telegram necessarily. And so those are the two paths in for the if for example, the Choose Freedom Law Summit, it is up by donation. We were doing it free for 6 weeks, and then when we created all the downloads and the documents and at least monthly bonuses, we've been racing ahead and doing more than that. It can be as little as $10 to sign up for that. It's kind of like you say, it's not for everybody. And if people just want it because it's free, then they're not going to make use of it anyway. What's the point in hosting them on a server? But having said that, if you're committed and you want to learn the law and you want to take action and you can't afford it right now for one reason or another, just hit me up for a freebie link. I am happy to provide that. We're not trying to. Oh, you might want to separate those, or I might want to separate those because that'll be hard to see. Let me see if I can give you two separate links instead.
I separated them in the comments and sent them
Okay.
to everybody. It's okay.
Thank you. Okay, thanks,
I was
Alexander.
just putting it
Perfect.
up and compressing it so people could see what I did.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, that's what my copy and paste did as well. Appreciate that.
This is awesome. Well, this was a really great talk. So any last minute, and we'll wrap it up right away there. Any last words for that mom that's like worried about her kid, or, that nurse that's about to lose her job? Like, what's a piece of advice that you would offer them?
Yeah, a few things that they always want you to fill out their form. Don't fill out their forms. Write your own letters. Don't answer their questions. Ask questions with a yes, but. Yes, I will answer that question when you prove to me that coughing up my health information won't violate the Personal Health Information Act.
Yeah.
Did you know there's up to a $50,000 fine for violating the Personal Health Information Act? Would be another good question. To actually delay, buy time, make it expensive for them, write letters. Every time they respond, you respond back. And they're going to respond with a bunch of nonsense. So I emailed Audrey Gordon the other day just to say, could you show me that there's a signature on the last personal health order? There's a claim out there that you've signed it. I want to see the wet ink signature. And so, I emailed to all three, her constituency office and there's, I think, 3 different emails there. And of course, they're trying to get me off their trail. Oh, well, it's nothing to do with this office and nothing to do with this office. Yep. And I said, to be clear, I am emailing the living woman, Audrey Gordon, who can make a wet ink signature. This has nothing to do with her constituency or her role. They're like, oh, we can't talk to you if you're not in South, whatever it was, is her constituency. And I said, this has nothing to do with that. You signed the health order. I want to see the signature. So don't give up. It's like court. Court is going back and forth. It's like, you volley, they send it back to you, you volley again. I know a fellow who has not paid income tax for 19 years doing that. He hasn't quote unquote won. They're still volleying. Yeah. But he's not tired of that game. I wouldn't be either.
I wouldn't be either if it could save you a lot of money at the end of the year, right? When you're sitting on an extra $60,000 because that's the money you made. Wouldn't that just be nice to be able? I would volley that too until I was blue in the face.
Exactly. One more thing, if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was just going to say that if people are interested in they're like they've got the courage, you can't take lawful action while you're afraid. You just can't. So the first thing is to let your fears go. I actually did one of the whole Manitoba Law and Action groups on my methods and techniques for letting fears go. The recording is there on the group, which you get a link to when you sign up with your email. And, but the knowledge is irreplaceable. If you can't speak to this stuff, there's no magic paper out there. It's not going to work for you. You'll probably get, halfway or less into it and you'll go like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to just give up. It's an endurance run. Just writing the thing has taken 4 months. Yep. But we've done a lot of heavy lifting for people already. So if you're that person who has been studying, you know who you are inside, your blood and your bones, and you want to join in an action for the miners, also for the Vax Pass, and for people that are losing their jobs. So also education. So we have 3 of these notice of conditional acceptance that people could get on board with, but don't come in thinking you're going to poke around like you're going shopping and do you like this color or that color? It will waste our time. Unfortunately, many people have wasted our time coming in and out and humming and hawing and it turns out I'm afraid. And it's like, okay, well go. You got to deal with those fears. Yeah, sorry about that, but if you're afraid, don't do this. That's why we created that Manitoba Law and Action Group. So there is a place for them to come. We don't have to turn people away. They can learn, they can ask questions, they can get some, leads on resources. And then the Choose Freedom Law Summit, there's again like 24, 25 interviews of who we consider to be the best in law, but we can't endorse them either. You get down the rabbit hole and you realize, oh, you've never done that thing you're recommending. Okay, that's very important to know.
Yeah.
Really good. I've had, I swear some people have been literally invented for me. That's making myself very special. But there's a lot of controlled op at every turn.
There really is. Yeah.
Right? And especially in the legal world now, there's articles coming out saying that these documents are useless and you guys are such a bunch of.
Yeah.
To me, that means that the documents are really important. Actually, if you're going to make fun of us about that, then they're scared. We did have controlled op in our Choose Freedom Telegram group, and they were going like, documents are dangerous. Whatever you do, don't come and do singing bowls with me over here like a Pied Piper. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Then again, that's the indication that we're on to it, because they're trying to discourage us from doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're so right. We need courage and we need people to stand up. So if the law thing really, and we need people in all of these areas, right? Like I've been saying this forever, like definitely law is a weak point for me. So I would never jump into a group and be like, well, let me see what I can do for you guys. I'm gonna be like, dude, I really don't know. But not everybody is cut is cut for certain things, but everybody has a certain role that they can have in this freedom movement. So if you guys feel like the law, learning what you guys are doing, go talk to Beth, get involved with that, learn the law, learn it for yourself, but learn it to help all the community around you, because you know what, like we still have a fight, like the Vax passport hasn't turned into the social credit system yet. So we still have a fight. We're there.
Just about, I've got this much, got about an inch.
Yeah, we got about an inch, guys. So we got to start spreading that so that we can give ourselves back that foot to maybe back a couple feet so that we can eventually overtake that and really fight for what freedom really is, because this can be a new world order, but it could be a new world order with love and light, and it could be all spirituality based, and it could be really back in touch with what humans were designed to be, which was a giving species and community and tribe, and just that's what I feel like we need to get back to. So if you guys need to hit up Beth, you got all those links there. Alex, can we just throw that website back up under myself here?
To make it simple, also, if you just go to bethmartens.com, then I've got tabs up there, so these links might look like you can't remember them. So there's, I made it simple.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you for all the fight that you guys are doing, and thank you for taking the law on and learning it for people like myself and everybody else who, it might be a little bit afraid, but fear goes away the second you stand up to it. So we just get a little bit more brave and get a little bit more ninja, and let's freaking go. Beth, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and we'll hook up on your show one night there soon.
Yes, please. Thank you. I love you, Lynn. Thank you so much for everything you've done.
Thank you so much for everything you're doing. Bye.
My pleasure. Bye for now.
All right, guys, that is the Filthy Truth show for this evening. A huge shout out to Beth for everything she is doing, and to her whole team. I know a few people that are in that team, and those people are absolutely powerhouses with knowledge. And just to listen to them, like an hour, it flew by, and there's just so much more. If you guys want to know more about this stuff in detail, how we can go about going after the people in CBC, at CTV, going after those principals, those teachers that are pushing the shot, those nurses, those doctors, all the way up to our prime minister and beyond. Join us on our town hall, October 7th. It is going to be huge, and it is going to be super massive with knowledge and the stuff that you guys are going to walk away with. You guys will be way more. You guys will start off on chapter 1 if you guys are new to this fight, and eventually you guys will catch up to season 8, episode 5, where we are all at currently. So join the fight, guys. Join us on our town hall right there. Get that email out to me, and I will make sure to send you the PayPal link. And then, Beth just said that we could do this on Telegram, so I'm going to figure out how to do that, and maybe we'll get this all up on Telegram. Shadow Davis, he's probably on right away. So hop over there and get yourselves watching Shadow's show tonight. We are on tomorrow, The Rise of the Titans. Shadow and myself can't wait to hang out with him. Miss my buddy. And I hope you guys are going to have a wonderful evening. Go over, watch Shadow, and Alex. Play a
We're
little.
gonna play both intros, both extras.
outros?
The new
Okay.
one I did, and then the main one we normally do.
Okay,
Just
sounds
so you
good,
know.
guys. Have a good night. Love you all. And we will talk to you guys all tomorrow night. Peace, guys.